To begin, I've taken a piece of Whisper White cardstock that I have cut at 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. I then put it through my embossing folder through the Big Shot. Now this embossing folder is new. It's called Beautifully Baroque and it is absolutely stunning. It is gorgeous. It's new with this catalog. It's on page 113 and it coordinates with the Beautifully Baroque stamp. And you can buy it as a bundle and save 15%. This is the stamp that it matches. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I've whipped that through my Big Shot. So now for the technique. The colors that I'm going to use for this card are all from the Brights family. I have the Daffodil Delight, the Pumpkin Pie, the Melon Mambo, and the Rich Raspberry. You're always going to start with your lightest color when you're using your brayer. So we're going to work our way up to the darker colors. So I'm going to start with my Daffodil Delight. When you get your brayer, it's not going to be stained and dark like this. It's going to be quite light, but the more you use it and the more well loved it becomes, it will begin to stain, and that's perfectly fine. That won't affect the quality whatsoever. Mine actually even has, believe it or not, glitter, dazzling diamonds stuck to it. Don't ask me how, and I can't get it off. I've scrubbed it, but it's on there for good, and even that's not affecting my brayering, believe it or not. I think it's because it's quite fine. And to clean your brayer, I just put mine underneath the tap until the water comes out clean, and then I just dry it off, and then I'm ready to rumble. So our ink pads, as you'll see when I'm rolling, they're pretty close in width to the brayer, which is way cool. I put my finger right on the center of the brayer, so I feel like I've got good control of it. And you don't want to go back and forth on your ink pad. You want to spin your brayer, because if you go back and forth, you're really only getting this much of your brayer inked. You want to spin that so that you are fully loading your brayer. And it's always good to have really good wet ink pads. Really dry ones aren't going to work so well, and that's where our ink refills come in really handy, so you can just re-ink that. So when you start brayering, I always work on my scratch paper first. Now this, by the way, is our placemats that you can buy, but any kind of scrap paper will work well, because I kind of roll off and then start going onto my cardstock. And if you'll notice, I'm just moving my handle in one direction. Re-ink and do it again. It doesn't matter if you go up all the way across or if you go down all the way across. The whole point is just to go in the same direction. Isn't that pretty? So that's the debossed side, and then that's where it's raised. So you see it's gorgeous. It's really, really gorgeous. Alright, so there is our Daffodil Delight. Now we're going to move on to our Pumpkin Pie, and I'm not going to clean my brayer because we're starting with the light colors, moving our way up into the dark, so I'm not going to contaminate my dark ink pads. If I was working with orange and then went into my yellow, that would be a different story and a bit of a freak out, but if you're working with your lighter, working up to your darker, you'll be tickety-boo. Alright, here we go with the orange. And because I'm working with 4 colors, I kind of want to leave about an inch roundabout so that I've got my yellow, my orange, my Mellow Mambo, and my Rich Raspberry. Like even with the 2 colors, it's quite pretty. So this is going to be where I'm going to have my orange showing. This top half is going to be the Raspberry and the Melon Mambo. So I want this bit to be a little bit darker. Alright, time to move on to the next color. Ooh, pretty. Nice, hey? Even with the 3, it's nice. But because I'm wild and crazy, I'm going to use the fourth color, the Rich Razzleberry. And I am getting some white, or sorry, some ink in on the white. I'm not going to worry about that. Life's too short to worry about that. I wanted it to look that way. Yeah, that's it. And there you go. The Brayer is always a wow. No matter what you make with it, you're going to be wowed. So I would rinse this off underneath the tap. Doesn't matter, I don't think, if you use warm water or cold water. And it's going to eventually come out clear, and then I just dry it off and it's ready to go for your next project. So now I'm going to finish this card, and I'm going to grab this piece that I've already put together. Okay, I have my cardstock. When closed, it measures 5.5 by 4 1/4. So all I've done is I had cut this 1/4 of an inch smaller, so it's 4 by 5 1/4, and that's how you get it to mat so nicely onto the card. And this looks really pretty, whether you have the yellow on the top or the yellow on the bottom. When I first started Stampin' Up, I was a little bit chintzy with my snail, to be honest. I would just put a little bit on the corners and a little bit on the middle, until I realized my cards weren't staying together, my layers were coming off. And when you put your time and effort and love into making a card, you don't want it falling apart. And the snail works really, really well, so I wouldn't chintz on it. I would definitely make sure it's gonna stick. I'm actually gonna put that just like that. Next, I'm gonna kick this up a notch. I have used our bird punch, and I just took some scrap green cardstock. I think this is gumball green, and I just punched out some leaves. I took the new Modern Medley Designer Series paper. I just lightly sponged on the DSP with the same colors that I've used on my card, and then punched them out with my butterfly punches. So I'm going to put a little bit of snail on that. So I'm going to take my antenna, ink it up with my Stays On, and stamp it right there. Then I'm just going to put my butterfly right there. And this butterfly is going to go here. And I can try to put antennas there, but it's raised, so I'm not sure how well it's going to turn out. Not too bad. I'm just bending the wings a little bit. I'm going to take some scrap yellow, punch out some little flowers. And I'm going to use my little glue dots for these. And I'm going to kind of bend them a little bit as I put them on the card again to give them a little bit of dimension. So I'm just going to take some of our rhinestones, and I'm just going to pop them on the centers. Just to add a bit of dazzle. Oops. And there you have it. There's my card. I hope you like that, and I appreciate you watching, and I hope you will give that a whirl and come back and visit me sometime soon. Thanks for watching, and happy stamping!